Do you aspire to become a leader within your field of expertise and contribute to sustainable development? If yes, then the SISGP could be the right scholarship for you. Hey everyone, I'm Jed, a Study in Sweden digital ambassador and proud scholarship recipient of the Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. And in this video, I'll tell you everything you need to know about this scholarship program. The SISGP is a highly competitive scholarship with thousands of applicants each year. And it's important that you understand and meet the requirements before you apply so that you can submit the best application possible. So if you're ready, let's get started.
What is the SISGP?
The SISGP is a highly sought after, fully funded international scholarship program for master's level studies in Sweden, and it is funded by the Swedish Ministry for Foreign Affairs. Each year, SI grants about 300 to 400 scholarships for full-time master's programs at a Swedish university. And this scholarship covers your tuition fees and also provide you with a monthly allowance for your living expenses. When I applied in 2021, there were about 8,500 applicants and only 370 scholarships were granted. On average, only 4% of applicants receive the SI scholarship, and every year, more and more people apply, which makes the scholarship even more competitive. One of the great benefits of this program is that all scholarship holders are included in the SI Network for Global Professionals, better known as the NFGP. And here, you get to meet like-minded people who are also passionate about sustainable development. NFGP also organizes events and provides opportunities for your professional development while studying in Sweden. After your studies, you become part of the SI Alumni Network, so you will keep a lifelong relationship with your fellow SI scholars and continue to grow together even after your studies. What are the requirements? Country of citizenship. Citizens from about 40 countries are eligible for the SISGP. You can check out what these countries are at si.se, and I'll put a link in the description for you. The eligible countries are all from outside the EU or EEA, because only non-EU and EEA students are required to pay tuition fees to study in Sweden. Work experience. Work and leadership experience are essential requirements when applying for the SISGP. For the work experience requirement, you must ensure that you have worked the minimum number of hours that SI requires, and only actual employment counts. So if you, for example, have only done some voluntary work or have been involved in a student organization, that is not enough. You will need to submit proof of your work experiences, and we'll get to that in a little while. However, it is an advantage if you have worked enough hours and at the same time, you have been engaged in networks or civil society organizations outside your regular job. Work experience from some fields will also get a priority for the SISGP, and the areas vary depending on the country you're from. Leadership experience. Another important requirement is your leadership experience. But unlike the requirement for work experience, SI has no minimum requirement for the number of hours for leadership experience. Your leadership experience can come from your employment or outside your employment, such as involvement in an NGO or a civil society organization. However, strong and relevant experience from your employment is a plus. Given how tough the competition is, it is important that you meet the work and leadership requirements set by SI. The reason for this is that SI wants future SISGP scholars and alumni who can make a significant impact in their society after the program. And one way to show that you have the potential to be that person is through your work and leadership experience. But what if you haven't worked enough hours yet, or if you think your work or leadership experience is not strong enough? Well, it never hurts to get more experience so that you are more qualified next year. Don't worry. There's no age limit for the SISGP, so there's no need to rush. Eligible master's programs. The SISGP is only available for a selection of master's programs. The list changes every year, and it's published on the SI website as early as November. I'll put a link to the eligible programs in the description. It's also worth noting that your chance of getting the scholarship also depends on the field of study that you choose, since some fields of studies are prioritized if you come from a certain region or country. Other eligibility criteria. So those were the main requirements when applying for the SISGP, but there are other criteria that you should also be aware of. For example, you're not eligible to apply for the scholarship if you have already completed a university degree in Sweden. I'll put a link in the description for you to check out what the other eligibility criteria are. Timeline and how to apply. It's important that you understand that applying for university admissions and the SISGP are two separate processes. First step, apply for a master's program. Remember, the SISGP is only for specific master's programs that are eligible, so make sure that you check the list provided by SI from early November. Once you've chosen your programs, it's time to apply for them. The deadline is usually in the middle of January. You can check out my video about the application process and how to apply to study in Sweden here. Step number 2. Apply for the SISGP. You will need to prove that you meet the scholarship requirements, so there are quite a few documents that you need to prepare. You must use the forms that SISGP provides to prove your eligibility. You should always check out what forms are required on the website and download the correct ones for the application round you're applying to, because the forms change every year. The application forms are uploaded on the SI website as early as November, and you can start preparing them as soon as they are available. Application portal. Once you have prepared all the documents, you need to upload them to the SI Scholarship application portal. The portal opens in February and the exact date varies each year, so make sure you check si.se for the exact date. Also, it's important to remember that the portal will only be open for around 1 to 2 weeks during the application period. So I highly suggest that you prepare all the documents as early as possible, preferably as soon as the application documents are available in November, so that you can have enough time to submit the completed documents during the application window. In the portal, you will also need to answer questions about yourself, your studies, your experiences, and motivation. And you'll find the link to the portal on the SISGP's webpage, and I'll add a link in the description for you. Application results. In early April, you will get the result of your university application, and if you're admitted to a master's program that is eligible for the SISGP, SI will consider your scholarship application in their selection process. SI will get admissions results directly from university admissions, so you don't need to inform SI about your admission. The results for the SISGP will be released around the end of April, and if you're one of the lucky ones to get awarded, then it's time to apply for a residence permit at the Swedish Migration Agency and get ready for a new chapter of your life. Tips on applying for a residence permit will be in the description below. Important tips and reminders. Tip number 1. Read instructions thoroughly. I have to say this again. It is a competitive scholarship, and you don't want to miss out just because you misunderstood some of the instructions. SI is strict in assessing your eligibility, and they make no exceptions. All of the information that you need can be found on the SISGP website, so make sure that you read everything, including all the subpages and the page for frequently asked questions or FAQs. Important information and instructions can also be found on all forms that you are required to submit. Additional information can be found on the application portal when it opens. So I'll say it again, read everything carefully. Tip number 2. Prepare the documents early. When applying for the SISGP, it's not a good idea to wait until the last minute to prepare your documents. You'd be surprised by the amount of time it takes to gather all the documents needed. Trust me, I've gone through the application myself. As I mentioned earlier, the documents needed will be available as early as November, and you can get started preparing them right away so that everything is ready before the application deadline in February. Tip number 3. Submit your application early. SI will not accept any late applications. I repeat, SI will not accept any late applications. When I was applying to the SISGP in 2021, one of the most common and important tips from previous scholarship recipients was submitting your application at least 2 days before the deadline. Due to the volume of applicants who upload their documents in the final days, there's a possibility of technical issues and delays in the application portal, and you don't want to risk that happening. So again, I highly suggest upload your documents at least 2 days before the application deadline. My personal application experience. Before applying for the SISGP, I had work and leadership experience in both private and nonprofit organizations. My involvement in the leadership organization, the Junior Chamber International Philippines, also known as JCI Philippines, since 2016, allowed me to be directly involved in numerous projects related to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or UN SDGs. I genuinely believe that these experiences and involvements in a civil society organization, together with my work experience, are what contributed the most to my acceptance into the scholarship program. But the thing is, that was my path to the SISGP, and yours is different. All of us have our own stories and experiences that make us unique, and it is that uniqueness that will make you stand out. The SISGP could be that big step that would bring you closer to your dreams. Studying in Sweden will broaden your horizons and open up numerous opportunities for you. But I'm not going to lie, getting the scholarship will not be easy. It is pretty challenging. But if you give yourself enough time to be equipped with the experiences and prepare all of the documents that you need, then you could earn yourself the best chance possible. A fellow digital ambassador and SI scholar, Nosy, wrote a blog about her application to the SISGP, and this could be very helpful for you, so make sure you check it out. I hope you found this video helpful, and best of luck on your application. I hope we can grab some fika soon. Hej då!